Football Week 9. Last week, back on track. No more Brady, no more Belichick, unless we're betting the unders on both of those teams because they cash. Although, unders just seem to cash in general in the NFL. We'll have another one coming really soon. If you watch the video on Thursday, you get the extra picks, the FanDuel No Sweat Same Game Parlay for Thursday Night Football. It's a free roll, baby. If it's plus 400 or better with at least 3 legs, you get your money back if you lose. Up to $25, free bet, but we hit a bunch of them. Before we get there, we won 2.9 units last week. Should have said 3, but we got to be honest with the audience. And we are up 96.9 units on the season. It was over 100 till Brady and Belichick decided that they do what they do, which is be the devil together, and we don't like them, and we don't bet on them. And that's just a simple rule for the rest of the year and forever. Brady's a single man. He can do whatever he wants, except for creep his way into my tickets. I won't have it anymore. And he's benched on my fantasy team. The guy's dead to me. I drafted him, and I said to myself, either I'm going to win fantasy, or I'm going to ruin his career, MikeTheMush, for a reason. Seemed to have ruined his life as well, which, honestly, I don't wish poorly on the guy, but he's hurt me. And it's deserved. I'm saying it. No sweat, same game parlay for Thursday. Eagles-Texans, bad game. Gonna be a bad game. But you know what I know about the Texans? They can't stop the run at all, ever. Derrick Henry crushed them again. Every single pedestrian running back, great running back, doesn't matter. They can't stop the run. They can't. You would think they're going to emphasize it on a short week. If there's one thing they can prepare for, it's stopping the run. I don't think it's going to happen. So I'm thinking there's going to be long drives. It's a Thursday. I'm thinking, obviously, under. First half under, especially. These games start slow. They're ugly. First half under 23.5. That line is really big. I think you could just take that by itself and be happy with a win. But we're going for over plus 400. So we're taking Eagles-Texans under 23.5 in the first half. Then Jalen Hurts 25 rushing yards and Miles Sanders 90 rushing yards. And that gets you to plus 411. I'm just banking on the one thing that I know, which is their run D is awful. That should mean long drives for the Eagles. I doubt the Texans are going to score very much. They'll get dominated in the trenches. I like the Eagles in this game, but man, that 13-14 line, it's so much for a game that I think is going to hit the under. You don't want to bet the under and then also bet a huge spread. That's just bad value. And so I'm going to steer a little bit away from that. Plus 411 for that free roll. Get it in while you can. Subscribe to the channel. Put the notifications on so you get the video immediately and you can get these bets in for Thursday night because we've been crushing them, honestly. We are going to loop back to the Eagles now that we get to the real picks. There are a bunch. We like the way this is going to go. Confidence is high after last week. We don't talk about the B&Bs. Eagles minus 6.5 against the Texans is in our first parlay. We're parlaying that together with Vikings plus 3.5 against the Commanders. All alt lines. These are pseudo teasers, but I get them at the lines that I want because I don't follow the rules. Who needs a teaser rule? Teasers are dead to me. You figure you have so many lines. Get the lines that you want. Eagles minus 6.5. Vikings plus 3.5. Kirk Cousins is good as long as it's not primetime. This team just had a bye recently. The Commanders are playing a backup quarterback. They don't look good at all. Brian Robinson looked good on that primetime game, and then all of a sudden has looked pedestrian again. I just don't trust them to do very much. I think that at worst, the Vikings blow that game, and I'm still getting plus 3.5. I don't see a world where the Commanders come out as world beaters and crush them. I do like their defense more than most. I think it could be a low-scoring game, but I'll take the 3 plus the hook. And I think the Vikings really should take care of business. We'll get back to them in a minute. The third leg of that parlay is the Chiefs minus 2.5 against the Titans. Titans do scare me when it comes to the Chiefs because they can run the football. Derrick Henry has looked pretty good. I thought after last year, the way it ended the first couple of weeks this year, I didn't know if that was the end of the road. It doesn't look like it is, although he faced the Texans last week, which we talked about can't stop a sieve. Is that how that goes? Probably not. Chiefs minus 2.5 against the Titans. I don't want to lay all the points. I don't trust Tannehill in that game, but I think the Titans will try to take the air out of the ball, run it a lot. The thing is, Chiefs are off a bye. Andy Reid doesn't lose off the bye. He doesn't. They should be healthier. They're going to go to Kelsey 900 times. They're going to have a game plan ready. They're going to have their first 40 plays scripted. They're all going to work. Chiefs minus 2.5 against the Titans. Just take care of business. That game is going to be one that in the third quarter you're like, the Chiefs really going to lose this one? And then they don't. They're going to end up winning it. They might win by 7 or 10. That big spread is going to scare some people, but I like the Chiefs on the alternate line. So Eagles minus 6.5, Vikings plus 3.5, Chiefs minus 2.5, plus 122, 2 units. Next one. I got 2 parlays that are similar. We're going back to anchor teams. I know we lost some stuff with the anchor teams in the past weeks with the B&Bs. We don't talk about them unless it's a bed and breakfast. And also, the bed and breakfast, you got to bring the breakfast to the bed. What are you doing? I'm not going to a bed and breakfast just to get a room where I have to go downstairs into a kitchen and eat breakfast. I can do that at home. You know? You guys get it. Dolphins money line against the Bears. I don't care. It's a road game. I don't care that the Bears have looked better lately. Dolphins improved at the trade deadline. They're going to get their guys playing already. They paid $100 million. They're going to play their horses. They're going to be excited. The Bears are definitely due for a letdown. Justin Fields has looked better. I'll admit that, but he's going against a better team, and I don't think the Bears have the horses. Bears, horses, Lions, Tigers to run with Waddle and Hill. This should be simple for the Dolphins, but it is a road game in Soldier Field. It's getting cold. I get it. But I'm fading the Bears as often as I can, especially when people are high on them for a minute. So I like the Dolphins. I'm taking the Bills money line against the Jets. I don't really have to talk about that one. And then the Chiefs money lines against the Titans, which also I don't have to talk about. And that's minus 102 for 2 units. I understand that a 3-leg parlay at minus 102 isn't perfect, and it's usually not what I preach on this channel. Dogs. I like dogs. Woof, woof. I get it. But with the Bills and the Chiefs, they feel pretty free to me, and I'm interchanging the first leg of that parlay twice. And we got to hit some of these anchor parlays. They're coming. We're due. We are due. Dolphins, Bills, Chiefs, minus 102, 2 units. The next one, Bills, Chiefs again, both the money line, except we're putting the Vikings in there against the Commanders. A lot of road teams, I understand, but we're fading the Bears, the Jets, the Titans, the Commanders. How hard can it be? Right? Plus 111 for Vikings, Bills, Chiefs money lines. 2 units on that one as well. So the Chiefs, huge for us. Vikings, huge for us in multiples. And the Bills, huge for us in multiples. Then we get to the fun stuff. Single bet. Falcons plus 3 against the Chargers. I like the Falcons. Is that weird? I keep recommending their defense in fantasy stuff. We'll get to that in a minute. The Chargers have Keenan Allen probably out. Mike Williams is out. Also, the Chargers never cover or look great, even when you think they're going to. Falcons are at home. Falcons can move the football. Mariota, the running game is actually interesting. They should get Patterson back, so now they have 3 running backs that can interchangeably get in there, plus Mariota. You're not really going to know where they're going to go with the football. Pitts has come on lately. London looks good, although Pitts and London never seem to perform well together, but Mariota doesn't throw it enough for that. I just think the Falcons keep this one close, if not win. And I almost put them in the underdog parlay, but I had 2 others that I like. So Falcons plus 3 against the Chargers. If anyone can blow a game at the end, well, actually it's the Falcons and the Chargers, but that's why you take the plus 3. Minus 106, 1 unit on that one. Last, but not least, and also not last, because we still do fantasy stuff, as you know, underdog parlay. I'm going with the Lions money line against the Packers. I'm fading the Packers. Why are the Packers always road favorites when we watch them lose a lot? They lose a lot. The Lions can score. I can't believe I'm saying this, but can the Packers keep up offensively with the Lions? That's where we are. It's 2022. The shit's weird. I get it. But for the odds, I kind of like it. And then I'm also taking Seahawks money line against the Cardinals because the Seahawks have been unequivocally better than the Cardinals. Now, I do think the Cardinals are a little underrated, but when I'm getting, I think, the better team at plus odds, and I can parlay, I'm parlaying Lions and Seahawks. I hear it coming out of my mouth, and I don't love it. But Lions and Seahawks, plus 429, half a unit on that one. We've constantly been hitting 1 out of the 2 on the underdog parlay of the week. This week, you just got to get bold with it. Sometimes you got to take the Lions. You know, that's what they say. Tigers, Bears, all of it, but you don't take the Bears. I get it. And you take the Tigers because the Bengals are good. I still like them. They're going to be good, right? Why are they underperforming? But they're still good. Lions, Seahawks, plus 429, 0.5 units. That's all the picks. 2, 4, 6, 7.5 units on the line. Like I said, we were up last week. We had 2 losing weeks before that where we got smacked, and then we had a winning week before that. You remove the B&Bs, you go to the bed and breakfast, you get the breakfast in the bed, but you don't do the B&B stuff. You know, they who shall not be named. Even though in the Harry Potter movies, they name him all the time. What are we doing? Deep fantasy options. This is for the desperate people. We know. everyone can figure out whether they want the tradable guys, whether someone got dropped and you want to pick them up. We're going deeper than that. You need someone bad at quarterback. I know I talked crap about the Bears and then did a lot of Wizard of Oz stuff. Justin Fields against Miami, he's been pretty good because of the rushing floor. He's going to rush for 50 yards a game. That's 5 points right off the bat before he does anything else. So I think if you're desperate, you can get some play there. If Geno is still available against Arizona, that's the play I would actually go with. Some people keep churning him out, dropping him, picking up, dropping him. You think he's not going to keep it up? He's like a top 10 ranked guy. He's going to get MVP votes if he keeps up this way. So I would do Geno before Justin Fields, but I figured you might not be able to get your hands on him, so he went second on the list. And then lastly, Andy Dalton against Baltimore. I really like Chris Olave. Michael Thomas is out for the season. Shock. He hasn't played in 10 years. He's never going to... Don't draft him ever again. He'll go to another team. Everyone will be excited. He looks great in camp. Best shape of his life. No, stop. Andy Dalton against Baltimore. This Baltimore secondary, not great. It's fun to play someone on a Monday night, especially a quarterback. And the reason I put Andy Dalton on this list is because he has Baltimore at home and then at Pitt, who is also beatable. And it doesn't look like Jameis is going to get this job back. So I would go Geno, then Dalton if you need a 2-week kind of solution. But if you need one, maybe Fields. Again, we're doing the deep stuff. If 2 quarterback leagues, injuries, buys, if you're in on all that, go with these kind of guys. Running back, Cordarrelle Patterson is back. If someone dropped him, get your hands on him. I like the Falcons. I don't know what to say. Kyron Williams coming back for the Rams. Their backfield is a disaster. They don't want to play Darrell Henderson anymore. They're trying to beg Cam Akers to come back after they basically kicked him off the team and then tried to trade him, and then they're like, no, come back. We want you. It's like the Ben Simmons thing all over again. But Williams looked good in college. Great receiver, good blocker. Pretty much should be everything the Rams need. If he's available on the waiver wire, pick him up. See what happens. Lastly, Chase Edmonds going to Denver. I like Chase Edmonds. I figured for a while, I was telling everyone to pick up Chase Edmonds. Mostert will get hurt in Miami. I still think he will. Now I'm going to throw Jeff Wilson onto this list because I'm always fading the Mostert injury. It's always coming. But I do like Chase Edmonds in Denver because they're trying to get rid of Gordon even though they didn't trade him. They don't want to use him, I guess. I don't understand what that's about. And Latavius Murray is a Jag. He's just a guy. He should be a Jaguar. So Edmonds is better than he's been showing and should get an opportunity. Wide receiver, why does nobody like Devin Duvernay? As I record this, Bateman is out for the season for the Ravens with a foot injury, so everyone will be going after Duvernay. I am thinking, I have the number 1 waiver claim. I'm thinking about spending it on Duvernay. I really like him. He's like a poor man's Debo, who I also have. He can run the ball in the backfield, which they need because all their running backs are hurt. He can definitely catch it. He's their number 1 passing option, and he's always available on the wire for a number 1 passing option that's playing with a former MVP quarterback. I'll take Devin Duvernay. I think he's talented. Also, Paris Campbell needs another shot with Sam Ehlinger. I don't think Ehlinger played terribly last week. I just think he didn't get all the opportunities he wanted, and he was forcing the ball to Pittman, which makes sense. But Campbell had like 20-plus targets the 2 weeks before that with a different quarterback. I want to see him one more time. So if you have a spot on your bench, Paris Campbell, probably worth it. Also a fun name. A lot of Paris jokes and gifts for you to send around when he scores. Also start looking at Odell Beckham. He's going to sign with someone soon, and he'll be back for the stretch run. And if you can maybe plug him in the playoffs, if he's starting to look good, you'd rather have him than have someone else have him if you have the spot. Tight end, Greg Dulcich, my dude. I called him out last week. He's awesome. He's on a bye, but he's worth owning. So if someone dropped him because he's on the bye, I would pick him up and stash him. For this week, if anyone dropped Gerald Everett when he was on his bye, start him. Chargers have nobody at receiver. Palmer and then no one. Everett should eat. Mount Everett. Good nickname, huh? Start him. If you're more desperate, I think I would go with Will Dissly on Seattle. Arizona is the worst in the NFL against tight ends. They have been for multiple years. They're really bad, and Noah Fant is questionable with an injury. So if he doesn't suit up, Dissly is a really nice start there. Defense. The Saints, not for this week necessarily, but I'm stashing them. I have 2 defenses on my roster, which I kind of hate, but the next 3 weeks, the Saints have at Pitt, home against the Rams, at San Francisco, none of which are necessarily world beaters, although San Francisco with CMC we're going to have to see, but that's multiple weeks away. At Pitt and against the Rams is pretty damn good for a Saints defense. For this week, take a look at Atlanta. I said them last week. They scored in the teens for a defense in standard scoring, which is damn good. And now they get the Chargers without their receivers. And then they're at Carolina and versus Chicago. So Atlanta, sneaky. Everyone's going to be like, you picked up the Falcons defense? And you're like, yeah, Dirty Bird all over the place. We like it. That's who we're going with. That's a wrap on this week. Week 9, we're going to be profitable. We're going to win fantasy. You're going to subscribe to the channel when you hit some of the bets. I don't expect you to do it before then. I do. It's a 1 click away, but you guys can do it. Like the video and all the things at MikeMush Sports for more. We're putting a lot of player props on the Twitter and the Instagram before the weeks go off. It's hard to get them into the video because not all the player props are always available for the Sunday games until a little bit before, but we have been crushing with same-game parlays and player props. Please tune in there if you want extra money. The unit counts do not count for those. The unit counts are only for the videos, but we have made a bunch of extra money on the player props. Head over there, follow, retweet, do all the things, tell all your friends. We'll see you next week. Peace out.